There is a silence that follows a great defeat, a heavy, suffocating silence where the air itself feels like lead, and the beating of your own heart sounds like a mockery of the dreams you just lost. You are standing in the wreckage of a plan that failed. You are looking at a bank account that has run dry, a relationship that has fractured, or a career that has hit a wall so high and so thick that the sun seems to have set forever behind it. In this moment, the voice of the world, and the treacherous voice within your own mind, will scream a single word: stop. It will tell you that you are finished. It will tell you that the pain you are feeling is a verdict, a judgment passed down by fate declaring that you were not meant for the heights you sought to climb. It will tell you that the universe is indifferent to your struggle, or worse, that it is conspiring against you. But listen closely, for I am here to tell you that those voices are liars. The pain you feel right now is not a stop sign. It is not a wall. It is a forge. You have not been buried, you have been planted. This darkness is not the end of your life. It is the beginning of your ascent. We are speaking today of a law as old as time, a law that governs the rise of every empire, every fortune, and every great soul that has ever walked this earth. It is the law of ascent. And the first rule of this law is terrifyingly simple: to rise, you must have something to push against. An airplane cannot leave the ground without the resistance of the air. A muscle cannot grow without the tear of the weight. And a human spirit cannot achieve greatness without the crushing pressure of temporary defeat. Napoleon Hill, the man who studied the most successful men of his century, discovered a golden thread running through the lives of the Titans. From the steel mills of Andrew Carnegie to the laboratories of Thomas Edison, he found one undeniable truth: every adversity, every failure, every hardtack carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Notice the precision of those words. He did not say the benefit is guaranteed. He said it carries the seed. A seed does not grow by itself. If you leave a seed on a concrete floor, it rots. If you swallow the seed of your pain with bitterness and resentment, it becomes a poison that destroys your nervous system and kills your ambition. But if you recognize it, if you have the courage to look your suffering in the eye and demand that it yield its profit, that seed becomes a forest. Most people never find the seed because they are too busy crying over the shell that broke to release it. They are obsessed with what they lost. They mourn the money. They mourn the time. They mourn the ego that was bruised. They become professional victims, drafting a permanent treaty with mediocrity because they were hurt once. They let the pain harden them into cynics instead of refining them into masters. But you are not most people. You are here because something in your soul is vibrating with a refusal to accept this defeat as final. You are here because you suspect that hidden within this crisis is the energy required to catapult you to a level you could never have reached had you stayed comfortable. Let us strip away the illusion of misfortune. Nature does not know the difference between good luck and bad luck. Nature only knows cause and effect. Nature knows balance. When a storm sweeps through a forest, it looks like destruction. Trees are snapped, leaves are stripped, the canopy is torn open. But ask the biologist what happened. The storm cleared the dead wood. It opened the canopy so that sunlight could reach the forest floor, allowing new life, stronger life, to rise from the earth. Your life is that forest. The crisis you are enduring has stripped away your dead wood. It has removed the complacency that was rotting your potential. It has torn down the false structures you were hiding behind. You feel exposed. You feel vulnerable. Good. You are finally in a position to grow. The law of ascent dictates that opportunity often has a sly habit of slipping in by the back door. It comes disguised in the form of misfortune or temporary defeat. This is why so many fail to recognize it. They are looking for opportunity to arrive wearing a crown and carrying a check. They are looking for a smooth path. But opportunity is a warrior, and it arrives wearing the armor of battle. It arrives looking like a problem that is too big to solve. It arrives looking like a heartbreak that is too deep to heal. Consider the man who built the modern world, Thomas Edison. We speak of him as a genius of invention, but we forget that he was a genius of resilience. At the age of 67, a massive explosion erupted in his West Orange plant. The fire was chemical. It burned with a ferocity that the local fire departments could not tame. Edison watched as the work of a lifetime, prototypes, records, machinery, his entire empire, was consumed by green and yellow flames. His son Charles found him standing in the heat, his white hair blowing in the wind of the inferno. Charles thought his father would be broken. He thought the old man's heart would stop from the shock. Instead, Edison looked at his son and said, "Go get your mother and all her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again." The next morning, walking through the ashes of his dreams, Edison said, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burnt up. Thank God we can start anew." 3 weeks later, he delivered the phonograph. What separates a man like Edison from the man who gives up? It is not intelligence. It is not funding. It is the mental alchemy that converts the lead of disaster into the gold of opportunity. Edison understood that the fire did not destroy his capacity to think. It did not destroy his imagination. It did not destroy his will. It only destroyed things, and things can be replaced. Spirit cannot. When you are in pain, you are in a state of high energy. It may feel like negative energy, but it is energy nonetheless. The drifter allows this energy to dissipate into depression, anxiety, and fear. He leaks his power. But the master captures this energy. He builds a dam of self-discipline and channels that river of pain into a turbine of action. Pain creates focus. When you are comfortable, your mind wanders. You drift. You procrastinate. But when you are backed into a corner, when the safety net is gone, when the world has taken everything from you, suddenly you possess a terrifying clarity. You know exactly what matters. You know exactly who your friends are. You know exactly what you must do to survive. The trivialities that used to distract you vanish. You become singular. You become definite. This is the gift of desperation. It is the fuel of the ascent. Think of the times in your past when you grew the most. Was it when you were lying on a beach with money in the bank and not a care in the world? No, it was when you were heartbroken. It was when you were broke. It was when you were humiliated. In those moments, you made decisions. You swore oaths to yourself. You said, "Never again." You rebuilt your body. You sharpened your mind. You worked hours that would kill a normal man. You did it because you had to. The pain was the propulsion. So why do you fear this current pain? Why do you look at this obstacle and tremble? It is the same teacher. It has returned to give you the next lesson, the one you need to reach the summit. The universe is trying to upgrade you, but the installation process requires a system reboot. You have to shut down the old identity to load the new one. You must understand that wealth, true wealth, financial, spiritual, and emotional, is not a result of what happens to you. It is a result of how you react to what happens to you. The law of success is not a law of comfort. It is a law of capacity. Life will never give you a burden you cannot carry, but it will frequently give you a burden that forces you to become stronger just to stay standing. If you are asking for a lighter load, you are praying the prayer of the weak. The master does not pray for a lighter load. He prays for a stronger back. He prays for the wisdom to see the opportunity hidden in the wreckage. Look at the debris around you right now. Look at the problem that is keeping you awake at night. If you stop looking at it as a tragedy and start looking at it as a puzzle, what do you see? Does this failure reveal a flaw in your product that, once fixed, will make you untouchable in the market? Does this rejection save you from a partnership that would have been disastrous? Does this loss force you to develop a skill you have been too lazy to learn? Napoleon Hill spoke of the invisible counselor. In the depths of despair, when the conscious mind has exhausted all logic and all reason, the subconscious mind opens a channel to infinite intelligence. It is often in the darkest hour, when you have surrendered your ego, that the breakthrough comes. The idea flashes, the solution appears. But this only happens if you remain open. If you close your heart in bitterness, you sever the connection. You shut the door on the very solution you are begging for. You must maintain a state of aggressive faith, not a passive hope that things will get better, but a militant, active belief that you are being prepared for a destiny that requires this specific trial. You must look at your pain and say, "I will use you." This is the secret of the industrial giants, the artists, the leaders who shaped history. They were not men of ease. They were men of scars. Lincoln was a man of sorrows, defeated in business, defeated in politics, burying his children, walking the halls of the White House with the weight of a fractured nation on his shoulders. Yet it was that very sorrow that carved out the cavern of his soul, creating enough space for the compassion and wisdom required to reunite a country. A happy, comfortable man could not have written the Gettysburg Address. Only a man intimately acquainted with the darkness could speak so powerfully of the light. Your suffering is carving you. It is hollowing you out so that you can hold more success, more empathy, more power, more joy. Do not despise the carving. Now, we must move from philosophy to the mechanics of the ascent. How do you practically apply this law? How do you wake up tomorrow morning with the weight still on your chest and begin the climb? It begins with the control of the mental focal point. Your mind can only hold one dominant thought at a time. It cannot simultaneously dwell on the horror of failure and the image of success. Darkness and light cannot occupy the same space. When you focus on the pain, you are feeding the weed. When you focus on the lesson and the opportunity, you are feeding the seed. You must perform a conscious displacement of thought. This is not repression. You acknowledge the reality of the situation. You do not pretend the bank account is full when it is empty, but you refuse to let the emptiness define the future. You look at the fact, and then you impose your vision upon it. The majority of people are thermometers. They reflect the temperature of their environment. If the economy is bad, they are depressed. If their partner is angry, they are reactive. They are victims of circumstance. You must be a thermostat. You set the temperature. You determine the atmosphere. Regardless of the storm raging outside, the internal climate of your mind must remain fixed on the objective. This requires a level of self-discipline that feels unnatural at first. It is easy to be positive when the sun is shining. It is easy to have faith when the checks are clearing. But faith is not faith until it is tested. Faith is walking to the edge of the abyss, seeing no bridge, and stepping out anyway, knowing that the ground will rush up to meet your feet. And if you fall forward. You get up, dusted with the ash of your failure, and you take another step. The law of ascent does not demand perfection, it demands persistence. It demands that you keep moving when every nerve in your body screams to lie down. Consider the nature of a diamond. It is merely a piece of charcoal that handled stress exceptionally well. It endured the crushing weight of the earth for eons. It did not shatter, it crystallized. Your current situation is the pressure. You have a choice: crumble into dust, or harden into a gem that reflects the light. The process of crystallization begins with a definite chief aim. In the chaos of a crisis, you must re-anchor yourself to your primary purpose. Why are you here? What is the mission? The storm may have blown you off course, but the destination remains the same. In fact, the storm may have blown you onto a better, faster course that you were too timid to take yourself. Often we are holding on to good, enough that we cannot grasp, great. We are holding on to a job that pays the bills but kills the soul. We are holding on to a business model that is outdated. Nature, in her infinite wisdom, comes along and smashes the good out of our hands. We scream, we cry. We think we have been robbed. But nature is standing there with great, waiting for us to open our fists. You must let go of what was to receive what can be. You must stop looking at the closed door. As Alexander Graham Bell said, when one door closes, another opens. But we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the one which has opened for us. Turn around. The door is open. It is behind you. It is in the new contact you made because you lost your job. It is in the hunger you feel because you lost your comfort. It is in the freedom you have because you lost your chains. The law of ascent requires that you become an alchemist of emotion. You must take the raw materials of fear, anger, and grief and transmute them into determination. Anger is a potent fuel. Do not suppress it, direct it. Get angry at your mediocrity. Get angry at the circumstances that dare to hold you down. Use that anger to wake up an hour earlier. Use it to make the 10th call. Use it to study while others sleep. Fear is also a fuel. It is a signal that you are entering unknown territory, which means you are expanding. If you are not afraid, you are not growing. The master learns to dance with fear. He uses the adrenaline of fear to sharpen his senses. He knows that on the other side of fear lies freedom. As you begin to climb out of this valley, you will notice something profound. You are stronger than you were before the fall. Your skin is thicker. Your vision is clearer. You have a swagger that comes only from having survived the fire. People will look at you differently. They will sense a depth in you that was not there before. You will speak with the authority of a man who has been to hell and walked back out with a map. This is the hidden benefit. This is the cool or greater benefit Hill promised. The money can be lost and made again. The houses can burn and be rebuilt. But the character forged in the fires of adversity, that is yours forever. No market crash can take it. No thief can steal it. It is an eternal asset. So, stand up. Wipe the dust from your eyes. Look at the wreckage not as a graveyard, but as a construction site. The ground has been cleared. The foundation has been tested. Now it is time to build. But to build, you must have a blueprint, and you must understand the materials you are working with. You are working with the fabric of your own mind, and the universe is waiting for your command. But it will not respond to a whimper. It will only respond to a decree. You must issue a decree to your subconscious mind today. You must look in the mirror and declare that the season of mourning is over and the season of conquest has begun. You must tell yourself, I am not a survivor of this pain, I am the master of it. With the decision made to rise, the fog begins to lift, but the path is not yet paved. Ambition without a plan is merely a wish. Energy without direction is merely chaos. You have the fuel, the transmutation of your pain, but now you need the engine and the steering wheel. You need clarity of vision and the power of organized planning. Most men drift through life. This is the great tragedy Napoleon Hill identified in his conversation with the devil, the habit of drifting. The drifter has no aim. He is tossed by every wind of circumstance. When pain hits the drifter, he spins in circles. But you are no longer a drifter. The pain has awakened you. Now you must focus that awakening into a laser beam of intent. What exactly do you want? Not what do you think you can get. Not what does the world say is reasonable for a person in your position. What do you want? The law of ascent demands specificity. You cannot walk to a destination you have not defined. You must go to the mental drawing board. If your business failed, what does the new unshakable empire look like? Visualize it. Do not just see the numbers, see the culture, see the impact, see the service you render. If your health failed, what does the vital, energetic body feel like? This vision must be high definition. It must be so clear that you can smell the leather of the chair in your new office, taste the champagne of the victory toast, feel the handshake of the partner who respects you. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vivid visualization and physical reality. When you feed it a picture of absolute success, born from the ashes of your defeat, the subconscious begins to marshal all your faculties to make that picture true. But a vision is not enough. You need a plan. And here is where the organized planning principle comes into play. You do not need to know the entire journey. You do not need to see the top of the staircase to take the first step. You only need a practical, workable plan for the immediate future. Sit down. Take a piece of paper. This is your treaty with destiny. Write down exactly what you desire. Then write down exactly what you intend to give in return. There is no such thing as something for nothing. That is a lie of the gambler and the fool. The law of ascent is a law of exchange. You must pay the price. The price is effort, service, sacrifice, and persistence. Write down your plan. Is it to acquire new knowledge? Is it to surround yourself with a mastermind group? Is it to wake up at 4:00 a.m. every day to work on your craft? Whatever it is, write it down. And then, and this is crucial, start immediately. Do not wait for the perfect time. The perfect time does not exist. If you wait for all the lights to turn green before you leave the house, you will never start the journey. Start where you are. Start with the tools you have. Better tools will be found as you go along. Action is the cure for fear. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you are paralyzed by the magnitude of your problem, break it down. Can you not build the whole wall today? Fine. Lay one brick. Lay it as perfectly as a brick can be laid. Then do it again tomorrow. The momentum you build through these small actions creates a centrifugal force that pulls you out of the gravity of your pain. Every time you take an action toward your goal, you are voting for your new identity. You are telling the universe, I am still here. I am still fighting. I am worthy of the prize. And as you move, you will encounter the next great principle, the mastermind. You cannot climb the highest peaks alone. In your pain, you may have isolated yourself. You felt shame. You didn't want others to see your wounds. But solitude is dangerous territory for a mind under siege. You must reach out, but be careful who you reach out to. Do not seek the company of those who will commiserate with you. Do not sit in the circle of complainers who will validate your victimhood. Seek the company of those who are climbing. Seek the friendly alliance of one or more persons who will encourage you to follow through with both your plan and your purpose. Sometimes the mastermind is found in books. If you have no one around you who understands your ambition, bring Napoleon Hill into your room. Bring Marcus Aurelius. Bring Emerson. Read their words until their thoughts become your thoughts. Surround yourself with the vibration of greatness. You will find that as you clarify your vision and organize your plan, the pain you felt earlier begins to change. It stops being a dull, aching weight and starts becoming a sharp, driving prod. It becomes growing pains. There is a difference between the pain of injury and the pain of growth. The pain of injury tells you to stop. The pain of growth tells you that you are expanding beyond your previous limits. When you go to the gym and your muscles burn, you do not panic and call an ambulance. You smile. You know that burn is the sensation of weakness leaving the body. You must learn to smile at your psychological burn. When you are rejected, smile. That is the burn of resilience growing. When you are tired but keep working, smile. That is the burn of discipline growing. You are building the spiritual muscle required to hold the weight of your destiny. Remember, the higher you go, the thinner the air. The ascent weeds out the weak. Most people turn back at the first sign of difficulty. They say, "This is too hard. It wasn't meant to be." They retreat to the safety of the valley. But the view is from the peak. The prize is at the summit. You must have the bulldog determination that Hill spoke of, the quality of sticking to a thing until it is finished. It is the power of the made-up mind. When you make up your mind that you will succeed or die trying, you eliminate all escape routes. You burn the bridges behind you. This was the strategy of the ancient conquerors. Upon landing on enemy shores, they would burn their own ships. They looked at their soldiers and said, "You see the smoke. That means we cannot go home. We win or we perish." What happened? They won. Because a man fighting for his life fights with a ferocity that a man fighting for a paycheck can never match. Your pain has burned your ships. Good. Stop looking at the ashes on the shoreline. Turn your face toward the enemy, toward the obstacle, the debt, the doubt, and draw your sword. There is no retreat. There is only the ascent. This intensity, this do or die spirit emits a frequency. Thoughts are things. They are measurable energy units. When you vibrate at the frequency of absolute determination, you begin to affect the infinite intelligence of the universe. You become a magnet. Suddenly, you will find that coincidences begin to happen. You meet the right person at the right time. You stumble across a book that has the answer you needed. Money comes from an unexpected source. The skeptic calls this luck. The student of the law knows it is attraction. You have tuned your receiver to the broadcast of success. But you had to walk through the static of pain to find the clear signal. You had to be broken down to be built up. As you execute your plan, you will fail again. Let us be honest. The ascent is not a straight line. It is a jagged edge. You will slip. You will slide back. You will bruise your knees. But the man who understands the law of ascent does not define a slip as a fall. He does not define a setback as a defeat. He understands that failure is merely a part of the education. It is nature's way of testing your resolve. Are you sure you want this? Nature asks. Are you willing to bleed for it? If you answer yes, the gates open. Consider the story of R.U. Darby, the man who stopped 3 feet from gold. He had gold fever. He went west, staked a claim, and started digging. He found a vein of ore, bought machinery, and started shipping gold. Then the vein disappeared. He kept digging, desperate, sweating, praying, nothing. Finally, he quit. He sold the machinery to a junk man for a few $100s and took the train home in defeat. The junk man called in a mining engineer. The engineer calculated that the vein was not lost. It had just shifted. He told the junk man to dig 3 feet to the left. 3 feet. That was the distance between Darby's defeat and millions of dollars. Darby spent the rest of his life paying off the debts of his family, but he learned the lesson. He became a phenomenal insurance salesman because he told himself, "I stopped 3 feet from gold, but I will never stop because men say no when I ask them to buy insurance." He took the greatest regret of his life and transmuted it into a philosophy that made him a fortune. You may be 3 feet from your gold right now. The pain you are feeling, that is the resistance of the last 3 feet. The darkness is always thickest before dawn. The pressure is always highest before the breakthrough. Do not stop digging. And how do you keep digging when the muscles fail? You rely on the next pillar of the ascent, auto, suggestion, and the subconscious mind. You must become the guardian of your own mind. You must stand at the door of your thoughts with a flaming sword. Do not let a single negative thought enter without challenging it. If a thought of poverty comes, replace it instantly with a thought of prosperity. If a thought of fear comes, replace it with a thought of courage. You have to brainwash yourself. Yes, wash your brain. It is dirty. It has been soiled by the dirt of the world, by the cynicism of the news, by the doubts of your peers. Wash it clean with the repetition of your definite chief aim. Every morning and every night, read your statement of desire aloud. See yourself in possession of the good you desire. Feel the money in your hands. Feel the health in your body. Do this until the subconscious mind accepts it as a fact. Once the subconscious accepts a command, it works day and night to bring it to pass. It influences your actions, your tone of voice, your body language. It drives you toward the people and circumstances that harmonize with your desire. But it is a double-edged sword. If you feed it fear, it will manifest disaster just as efficiently. The subconscious does not argue, it obeys. If you tell it, I am a failure, I am hurt, I am finished, it will say, yes, master, and it will ensure that you remain a failure. This is why your internal monologue during this time of pain is a matter of life and death. You cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought. You are walking a tightrope. One negative thought can throw you off balance. Keep your eyes fixed on the rope. Keep your eyes fixed on the destination. The law of ascent is also a law of rhythm. Life moves in cycles. The tide goes out, but the tide always comes back in. Winter comes, but spring always follows. You are in a winter season. It is cold. The ground is hard, but the seeds are sleeping underneath. Do not mistake winter for the end of the world. It is a necessary season of rest and preparation. The roots grow deep in winter. Your character is rooting itself now. When the spring comes, and it will come, you will shoot up with a speed that will baffle those who have only known summer. You must cultivate the virtue of patience, not passive waiting, but active persistence. The patience of the farmer who waters the soil even when he sees no sprout. He knows the law. He trusts the process. Trust the process of your pain. It is preparing you, and this preparation demands that you arm yourself. You cannot fight a modern war with ancient weapons, and you cannot build a new life with old, outdated information. The law of ascent dictates that you must acquire specialized knowledge. Many of you are held back by a feeling of inferiority. You look at your credentials, your degrees, or lack thereof, and you tell yourself, I am not qualified. You believe that because you do not have the letters after your name, you are not entitled to the seat at the table. This is a lie born of ignorance. Henry Ford was once sued by a newspaper that called him an ignorant pacifist. During the trial, the lawyers tried to humiliate him. They asked him questions about history, about philosophy, about generalities that had nothing to do with making cars. Ford finally tired of their game. He pointed his finger at the lawyer and said, let me remind you that I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk, and by pushing the right button, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question I desire to ask concerning the business to which I am devoting most of my efforts. Now, will you kindly tell me, why should I clutter up my mind with general knowledge for the purpose of being able to answer questions when I have men around me who can supply any knowledge I require? The court went silent. That was not the answer of an ignorant man. That was the answer of an educated man. Being educated does not mean you are a walking encyclopedia. It comes from the Latin word educo, meaning to draw out, to develop from within. An educated man is one who has so developed the faculties of his mind that he may acquire anything he wants, or its equivalent, without violating the rights of others. Your pain has revealed a gap in your armor. Whatever failed in your life failed because of something you did not know or something you did not apply. Do not wallow in the ignorance. Fill the gap. If you failed in business, study the market with the obsession of a scientist. If you failed in health, study the body with the reverence of a monk. Knowledge is available. It is cheap. It is everywhere. But it is only potential power. It becomes actual power only when it is organized into definite plans of action and directed to a definite end. Stop gathering trivia and start gathering the specific tools you need to climb out of this hole. When you commit to learning, you signal to the universe that you are serious about your evolution. But knowledge alone sits idle without the spark of decision. Here is where the vast majority of people fail. I have analyzed thousands of men and women, and I tell you that the primary cause of failure is the habit of indecision. Procrastination is the twin of indecision, and they are a deadly pair. They will bind you to the treadmill of mediocrity for the rest of your life if you do not sever their hold on you right now. Look at your life. Look at the pile of unfinished business. Look at the conversations you have delayed, the projects you have started and abandoned, the choices you have put off until tomorrow. Tomorrow is the devil's favorite word. It is the graveyard of potential. Successful men, men of power, men of influence, reach decisions promptly and change them slowly, if at all. Unsuccessful men reach decisions very slowly and change them frequently and quickly. Why do you hesitate? You hesitate because you fear making the wrong choice. You are afraid that if you move, you will make a mistake. Let me liberate you from this fear. You cannot steer a parked car. Even a wrong decision is better than no decision because a wrong decision produces feedback. It gives you data. It tells you which way not to go, which allows you to correct your course. Indecision gives you nothing but anxiety and stagnation. The law of ascent requires momentum. You must become a person of action. When you have the facts, decide. Do not ask for opinions from people who have not built what you are building. Opinions are the cheapest commodity on earth. Everyone has a flock of them ready to be wished upon anyone who will accept them. If you are influenced by opinions, when you reach decisions, you will not succeed in any undertaking. Close your ears to the noise of the crowd. Open your ears to the counsel of your own soul and the advice of the experts you have chosen for your mastermind. Then act. When you combine specialized knowledge with decisiveness, you unlock the heavy doors of the imagination. The imagination is the workshop of the soul. It is the place where all plans are created. The impulse, the desire, is given shape, form, and action through the aid of the imaginative faculty of the mind. It has been said that man can create anything which he can imagine. Do you believe that? Look at the device you are listening to right now. It was once just a thought in a man's mind. Look at the chair you are sitting in. It was once an image in a carpenter's head. The skyscrapers, the airplanes, the internet, all of it was pulled from the invisible ether of the imagination and made solid through persistence. You have two forms of imagination, synthetic and creative. Synthetic imagination arranges old concepts, ideas, or plans into new combinations. This is what you use most of the time. You take your experience, your education, and your observations, and you rearrange them to solve a problem. But there's a higher faculty, the creative imagination. This is the receiver. This is the antenna that catches the vibrations from the infinite intelligence. This faculty functions only when the conscious mind is vibrating at an exceedingly rapid rate, when it is stimulated by a strong emotion, like a burning desire or deep pain. Right now, your pain has stimulated your mind. You are awake. You are alert. This is the moment to go into the workshop. Your old life has collapsed. The old blueprint didn't work. Stop trying to tape it back together. It is time to draw a new blueprint. Sit in the silence and ask, what is the better way? Do not force the answer. Let the question simmer in the crucible of your desire. The answer will come. It may come as a hunch. It may come as an inspiration. It may come in a dream. When it comes, respect it. Write it down. That flash of inspiration is the gold dust of the universe. It is the seed of your recovery. But there is a fuel required to run this workshop, a high-octane energy that drives the machinery of the mind. Napoleon Hill called it the mystery of sex transmutation, but let us call it by its modern name, vital creative energy. This is the most potent energy in the human experience. It is the drive of life itself. Most men dissipate this energy. They waste it on frivolous pursuits, on fleeting pleasures, on distractions that numb the senses. They let this steam escape through the whistle, instead of channeling it into the piston. The law of ascent demands that you transmute this drive. You must take that raw, biological, emotional hunger and redirect it into your purpose. When you harness this energy and mix it with the will to succeed, you become magnetic. You possess a force that others can feel. It is the quality of charisma. It is the quality of endurance. Observe the men of genius. They are almost always men of high sexual nature who have learned the art of transmutation. They do not repress the energy. They switch it to a different track. They pour it into their art, their business, their leadership. They work with a tireless intensity because they are fueled by the very source of life. You are in a fight for your future. You cannot afford to leak energy. You must become a closed circuit of power. Every ounce of drive, every ounce of passion, every ounce of frustration must be poured into the plan. When you do this, you stimulate the creative imagination to heights you have never known. You will find yourself writing better, speaking better, thinking faster. You are tapping into the genius frequency. And this brings us to the command center, the subconscious mind. We have spoken of it, but you must understand it deeply. The subconscious is the connecting link between the finite mind of man and the infinite intelligence. It is the chemical laboratory in which all thought impulses are combined and made ready for translation into physical reality. You cannot deceive the subconscious. It knows your true beliefs. You can say, I am wealthy, with your mouth. But if your heart vibrates with the fear of poverty, the subconscious will accept the fear and reject the words. It responds to feeling. This is why emotion is key. Thoughts which are mixed with any of the feelings of emotions constitute a magnetic force which attracts other similar or related thoughts. A thoughtized with emotion is like a seed that has been fertilized. You must learn to emotionalize your vision. It is not enough to think about your success intellectually. You must feel it. You must feel the gratitude of it before it happens. You must feel the relief of the debt being paid. You must feel the pride of the achievement. This is the hardest work you will ever do. It is easier to dig a ditch than to control the emotional climate of your own mind. But it is the work that pays the highest dividends. If you fail to plant these emotional seeds of success, your subconscious will not stay idle. It will feed upon the thoughts which reach it as the result of your neglect. Weeds grow without effort. Fear, doubt, and worry require no cultivation. They are the wild vegetation of the human mind. If you do not plant the rose, the thistle will grow. Right now, look at the garden of your mind. In the wake of your pain, have you allowed the weeds to take over? Have you allowed the brambles of resentment to choke out the vines of ambition? Rip them out. It is painful work, but you must do it. Rip out the thought, I can't. Rip out the thought, it's too late. Rip out the thought, I am not good enough. These are invasive species. They do not belong in the garden of a master. Plant the new seed. Water it with the emotion of faith. Faith is not a religious term here. It is a state of mind. It is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. Faith is the only known antidote for failure. And how do you build faith? By repetition, by acting as if, by telling your subconscious over and over again that you are rising until the subconscious believes you. Consider the story of the great warrior who was captured by his enemies and thrown into a dungeon. He was told he would be executed in 30 days. Most men would have crumbled. They would have spent those 30 days in terror, weeping, begging for their lives. But this warrior knew the law of the mind. He spent those 30 days visualizing his escape. He did not know how he would escape, but he saw himself running through the fields. He felt the wind on his face. He smelled the air of freedom. He maintained his physical strength. He kept his mind sharp. On the 29th day, the guard who brought him food slipped and fell, knocking himself unconscious. The keys slid across the stone floor, stopping inches from the warrior's cell. Luck? No. The law of attraction. The warrior was vibrating at the frequency of freedom. He was ready. Had he been curled up in a ball of despair, he might not have seen the keys, or he might have lacked the speed to grab them, or the strength to run. His mental preparation met the opportunity. Opportunity is always passing by. It is floating in the ether around you. But you must have the receiver turned on to catch it. Your pain has broken the old receiver, yes, but it has given you the parts to build a new one, a stronger one that can pick up signals from further away. You are becoming a broadcasting station. Every human brain is both a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. When you stimulate your mind with a high rate of vibration, the method of which is through the emotion of desire, you send out a signal. Who receives it? People who are vibrating at the same rate. This is why, when you decide to rise, you suddenly lose friends. They can no longer receive your signal. They are on the AM band, and you have moved to FM. There is no static. There is just silence between you. Do not mourn this. It is natural. You are moving to a new frequency where you will find the people who match your new reality. You will attract the partners, the clients, the mentors who are tuning into the frequency of success, courage, and vision. But you must keep the signal strong. You cannot broadcast confidence for 1 hour in the morning and then broadcast fear for 10 hours during the day. The signal must be clear. The signal must be constant. And now we approach the most dangerous enemy in your ascent. It is not the external world. It is not the economy. It is the specter that haunts the corridors of your own history, the ghost of fear.